The Altria species is like a cancer to the universe. Someone has to reap them out. And someone has. Of course, she herself is Altria, Artoria, Arthur, Saber, but not yet actually a Saber, for this Saber-face is an assassin in summons only. She has no desire to be one, though it is appropriate for her given her motive. And you're probably familiar already with what her primary motive is: to eliminate all Sabers, specifically all other Saber faces. After all, she is the anti-Saber decisive weapon for a reason, cutting them all down with surprise attacks, while being completely fair and square.
Wait, what?
So why does she do it? Yes, there is actually a why in all of this, but first we have to start with where. She actually comes into our history as a complete joke character back in 2013's April Fool's Day, when she first appeared in the elaborate parody visual novel Bakali Satsuki, Chapter Heroine Sanctuary, fighting alongside so-called heroines against other so-called heroines. Noticing a naming scheme here? The game was released bit by bit, chapter by chapter, over the course of several days, actually, and sadly, I must admit that our mysterious heroine, X, does just about the least throughout the story besides her moment of glory when she gets to one-shot Nero, but you know, it's often the quiet ones who end up getting the spin-offs. Anyway, without getting too far off track right now, fast forward a few years later, and after being brought back to life by Bun Bun, who is infamous for not being Ebek, the quote-unquote high school girl who paints for Sword Art Online, but surprise, he is actually Ebek because Ebek is a fucking weirdo and can only dream.
Wait, I thought I said it wouldn't get off track.
Fate Grand Order has actually gone out of its way to give X a sort of in-depth backstory. So let's start with her initial design. Would you believe me if I told you there are legitimate reasons for it? It's a disguise, of course. Her sporty casual garments are not typical of a servant. You would never guess her to be one. When she's about to challenge another Saber in a fair challenge with a big sword in a knightly fashion, by starting with her favorite move.
Surprise, motherfucker!
And the hat is the finishing touch to hide her true identity, given the ahoge sticking out, like really sticking out somehow. It's to protect her honor as a Saber, not an assassin. She is definitely not that. That blue muffler attempting to conceal her face acts as a symbol of courage, not cowardliness.
This is what is actually written.
Even her legendary and all-powerful Excalibur is renamed to Himitsu Caliber, which translates to Secret Caliber, because she's definitely not assassin at all, guys! Nope! However, she begins to slowly unveil herself to you, her master, with each ascension in Fate Grand Order, and inevitably sheds this disguise to show you her true self.
A Gun Gale Online character!
Realizing that slaughtering all Saber phases is indeed just a petty goal after all. Instead, if she just proves herself as the best and most capable Saber, then of course she will become your chosen Saber over the stiff competition of lookalikes. Though, as sweet as this growth truly is, tragically, my Lady X, I regret to inform you, there is no changing your class once you've been summoned. I can never make you my Saber, because you'll always be an assassin.
You responded to my summon as an assassin!
And DW doesn't care enough to change that for you. So, in a bout of dramatic irony, maybe you should have considered double-classing before going gung-ho on sniping Sabers. Maybe you should learn to get on
Semiramis' level, you hollow-headed same-face!
So yes, that has been, all along, her true reason for being. It's not that she wants to slay the Saber faces simply for the sake of it, but coming from the servant dimension, yes, the servant dimension, not the throne of heroes, yeah, she is disgusted by these doppelgangers. Nero, Mordred, her own self from another timeline, anyone who would dare to take her rightful place from her as the definitive, Type Moon-appointed OP class mainstay, Takeuchi! Now I know I don't need to tell you that she comes from outer space. Yeah, not only is that foreshadowed from the Saber Wars event title literally being a parody of Star Wars, but helping X fix her crashed spaceship, the Dun Stallion 2, is basically the sticking point for the entire event. That's what most of the currency is based on. New parts with things like vacuum tubes and transistors and whatnot. So I won't harbor on that much more, as loony as it is. Before coming here, she saved an ancient royal dynasty from a crisis, settled the internal strife of the Mankind Integration Union, and routed the invaders from another universe. But for her, that was like eating dessert before breakfast. Since they are trivial, seems like she does not remember much about them. Until the achievement of her true dearest wish, she shall continue to wield the Himitsu Caliber. Also, no matter what, she will simply cut down the Golden Great Emperor, Cosmo Gilgames. Huh. I think I actually want to roll for her now. Ah! But speaking of rolling, you probably want me to give you some tips about her in-game to help determine if you should roll for her too, right? Relevance, man! Well, she may be considered bottom of the barrel right now on the JP server when it comes to 5-star assassins. Even that lazy, neat support servant Osaka Behime is just ahead of her in the current tier rankings. But it's as I told you, she's not an assassin. Yeah, sure. You're going to see that intuition skill she gets on her first ascension and think one of two thoughts. A, you're either a less technical player and assume, hey, free critical stars. Or B, you're a more experienced player and realized, crap, intuition sucks. Those critical stars aren't gonna go where I want them to. But it gets better. Once strengthening quests become a thing, that intuition skill then transforms into something every assassin should have, given their relatively low HP, protection. In the form of Star Saber C++. See, it's the extra plus that makes it good, which grants invincibility for 1 turn, as well as significantly more critical stars from base level onward. From 10 given at level 1 to a whopping 20 given at level 10. Also, she's quick-based. 4 hits on her 2 quick cards. A quick single-target Noble Phantasm, and the godly passive Riding EX for a 12% boost to all of her quick attacks. So, equip her with either Imaginary Around for full power quick advantage, or yeah, pretty much stick her with some equivalent of that. And her Noble Phantasm gets an interlude, a whole storyline of interludes in fact, to boost itself too, from 1200% damage to 1600% damage. And that's before the bonus Saberface damage, so that's quite astounding at just NP1. Combined with Cosmo Reactor A for an increased star gen rate of 10%, yeah, I think she's worth leveling if you're big into growing greens. Too bad she needs a ton of Dragon Teeth, Phoenix Blooms, and Octuplet Crystals, though. She's rare and expensive, and Support Artillery EX takes a whole turn to charge before use, and Galactic Meteor Sword only works against Sabers. Okay, maybe I want to back out now. Can I take back what I said about rolling for her? But then again, she's only ever gonna appear once. And that's this banner, and never again. I'm serious, and I don't count the paid Quartz gotchas. They can only ever be rolled on 1 time per account. If you want to take on the challenge, you'd better roll with intent and fervor, masters. Because if anything I pointed out to you sounds attractive, listen to me good right now, masters. You will never get another chance. Not even when her altar form shows up! By the way, did anybody else notice that the most important currency of the entire Saber Wars event is ahoges? You are literally collecting follicles of impossible anime hair for Hearts of Foreign Gods, Saint Quartz, and, mysterious substances. Is that safe? Is this sanitary? Anyway, if you would like to experience Mysterious Heroine X's origin and first journey to becoming a rightful golden heroine over other well-known Type Moon characters, such as everyone's wannabe favorite idol, Elizabeth Bathory, everyone's actual favorite idol, Nero Claudius, everyone's favorite wank material, Medusa, and even Ryogi Shiki, who can't even lose. So I assume she just goes home when she's faced with such lesser heroines. Really, this happens. Unfortunately, the download link to play the game yourself has since long died. However, you could still watch a playthrough of it through the channel I'd been crediting earlier in this video. Because you should always remember, masters, and remember this well, knowledge is power. Good luck with Saber Wars, everyone, and even more luck to your rolls for X. Yes, good luck.